Welcome to Cleared for Takeoff, brought to you by Viera Tech, your go-to podcast for aviation news, special topics, and beyond. Let's soar into the stories shaping the skies. Strap in as Brian and Jen take you through an overview of what has been happening in aviation.
Buckle up, everybody. We're going for a deep dive into the world of commercial aviation.
Yeah, always something interesting happening there.
It's pretty wild out there. Airlines are making big moves, placing huge orders. New routes are popping up left and right. And, well, let's just say the financial side of things is a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
We got a ton of information to sift through today, so let's dive right in.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
All right, so first things first, planes. Boeing and Airbus are still the big dogs in the yard, but what are you seeing in terms of orders and deliveries that really stand out?
Well, the sheer volume of orders for narrow-body aircraft is pretty remarkable. The Airbus A320neo and the Boeing 737MX families are especially popular.
Yeah, those are the workhorses of the skies, right?
Exactly. And we're seeing airlines like Pegasus Airlines placing massive orders. I'm talking up to 200 737-10 MAX jets. Deliveries are set to start in a few years.
200 jets. That's a serious commitment.
Yeah.
What's driving this trend toward narrow-body aircraft?
It's a couple of things. First, fuel efficiency. These planes sip fuel, which is crucial with those fluctuating fuel prices these days.
Yeah, every penny counts.
Right. And second, they're a perfect fit for those short and medium-haul routes that are becoming more and more popular.
Oh, you mean like those point-to-point connections?
Yeah, exactly. Airlines are moving away from that old hub-and-spoke model.
So fewer layovers and potentially shorter travel times.
You got it. Plus, we're seeing the rise of secondary airports. Airlines like Breeze Airways are focusing on smaller airports like Tweed, New Haven.
Interesting. So what's the appeal of these smaller airports?
Well, for airlines, it often means lower costs. And for passengers, it can translate into lower fares.
Makes sense. But are people really willing to sacrifice convenience for a cheaper flight?
Not necessarily sacrificing convenience, no, not always. Smaller airports can actually be a more pleasant travel experience overall. Shorter lines, less walking, and maybe even a quicker trip through security.
That is a good point. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's not always about being cheap. It's about being smart, too.
Smart and relaxed.
Exactly. And airlines are picking up on that. Passengers value convenience and a stress-free experience just as much as a low fare.
Right. But it's not all smooth sailing, right? I mean, Boeing has had its share of production challenges.
Oh, yeah. And Airbus seems to be slowing down on those hydrogen-powered planes we were all excited about.
What happened there?
Well, the 737 MAX 10 delays have been a headache even for big airlines like Delta Airlines. And Airbus decided to push back its zero hydrogen program, so those futuristic planes are still a ways off.
Kind of a reality check, huh?
I think so.
Okay.
But hey, there's still some exciting stuff happening on the long-haul front. Airlines like FlyDubai are investing heavily in wide-body aircraft, like the Boeing 787 Dreamliner.
So long-haul travel is back in style.
Seems like it. And those new Dreamliners are designed for comfort on those long journeys. They're quieter, have better air quality, and even have those cool dimmable windows.
Dimmable windows. Now that's fancy.
It's all about the passenger experience these days.
Speaking of passenger experience, what's with Southwest Airlines and their first-ever interline agreement? Didn't they always avoid those?
Yeah, it's surprising, right? They're teaming up with Icelandair of all airlines.
Well, interline agreements do make things easier for passengers. Book connecting flights on different airlines with a single ticket.
True. And it could be a way for Southwest to expand its reach without changing its business model too much.
Makes sense. And they're not alone. JetBlue and TAP Air Portugal are also getting closer.
Yep. These partnerships are becoming more and more strategic as airlines realize they can compete better and offer passengers more options by joining forces.
It's like a delicate dance, isn't it? Competing A&D, cooperating at the same time.
That's a good way to put it. All right, I think it's time we talk about the financial side of things.
The elephant in the room, right. Let's start with Frontier Airlines. They're boasting record revenue, but fuel costs are eating into their profits.
Yeah, they're trying to stay ahead with that peak day flying strategy.
Focus on the busiest travel days, maximize revenue. It's a clever approach.
It is, but it also shows how thin the margins are for low-cost carriers.
Makes you wonder how sustainable it is in the long run.
Exactly. Now let's look at Air Canada. They're also reporting record revenue, but UT, they're facing an operating loss.
Hold on. How is that even possible?
Well, they had a one-time charge related to their pension plan. It's a bit of an unusual situation, but it highlights that there's always more to the story than just the headline numbers.
It's like those financial reports have a whole hidden language, right?
You could say that. Okay, next up, Wizz Air. They've been hit hard by those engine issues with their A320neos.
Those Pratt & Whitney DTF engine problems. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Grounding planes, losing money. It's got to be tough.
It has been. They've had to adjust their delivery schedule with Airbus, taking 75 fewer planes over the next 3 years.
75 fewer planes? That's a huge hit.
It is, but the CEO remains optimistic. He believes these are temporary setbacks, and Wizz Air is in a good position for the long term.
Okay, so a bit of a bumpy ride, but they're confident they'll pull through. Now for some good news. Korean Air is reporting a profitable turnaround. What's their secret?
Well, they've been focusing on premium class service and adjusting their capacity strategically. Plus, they're benefiting from that resurgence in long-haul travel demand.
So it's a combination of factors, timing, and maybe a little bit of luck.
Perhaps, but it shows that even in a volatile industry, airlines can find ways to thrive.
All right, let's wrap up this financial roller coaster and talk about regulations. The DOT has been cracking down on airlines.
Oh, yeah. They're sending a strong message. That $2 million fine they hit JetBlue with for those chronic delays was no joke.
I think a lot of passengers were happy to see that. Delays are a major frustration.
Absolutely. And the DOT isn't stopping there. They're suing Southwest for allegedly having unrealistic schedules and misleading passengers about delays.
Wow, that's a big deal. Could this change how airlines plan and market their flights?
It's possible. If the DOT wins this lawsuit, it could force airlines to be much more transparent about their operations.
Which, let's be honest, would be a win for passengers.
Yeah.
No one likes being kept in the dark.
Right. Building trust is key for any airline that wants to succeed in the long term.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on, we got to at least mention sustainability.
Yeah, the EU is worried about that slow progress on sustainable aviation fuel production.
It's a tough situation. The push for a greener aviation future is gaining momentum, but the transition is complex and expensive. SAFs are a key solution, but production is lagging, and costs are way higher than traditional jet fuel.
So we need SAFs, but they're not quite ready for prime time.
Pretty much. It's a balancing act. We need collaboration and innovation from everyone involved: governments, airlines, fuel producers, the whole shebang.
Whew, we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. New planes, financial ups and downs, regulations, and that ever-present push for sustainability.
And we're just getting started. There's so much more to unpack.
I'm ready for round 2. But first, let's take a minute to digest all this information.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. I think the big takeaway here is that the aviation industry is in the midst of a major transformation.
It's like a giant puzzle, and we're trying to figure out how all the pieces fit together.
Exactly. And as we go deeper, we'll get a better understanding of what's shaping the future of air travel, what it means for you, the passenger.
All right, stay tuned, folks. We'll be back soon with even more insights.
Welcome back to the deep dive. It's amazing how dynamic this industry is.
It really is. Always on the move, like trying to track a flock of birds.
Great analogy. Speaking of, knowing where they're going, airlines are really embracing data these days.
Data-driven decisions, huh?
Exactly. It's all about using data for route planning, fuel efficiency, you name it. They're analyzing passenger demand, optimizing flight schedules, even using AI to predict disruptions.
So it's not just gut feeling anymore.
Nope. Intuition still matters, but data is king. And it's not just about planes and routes, it's also about managing the workforce.
Oh, right, the people who keep everything running?
Yeah. Airlines are realizing that investing in their employees is just as important as investing in new aircraft. Pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, everyone.
Because a fancy plane is useless without skilled people to operate it.
Exactly. And as automation and AI become more prevalent, those roles are evolving, We'll see a shift toward more specialized skills, a deeper understanding of complex systems, being adaptable to new technologies.
It's not just about flying the plane or fixing the engine anymore.
Right. You gotta be tech savvy, a problem solver, the whole package.
Okay, enough with the serious stuff. Let's talk about new destinations, all those cool new routes we mentioned earlier.
Yes. Arkia's Tel Aviv to New York, Saudia connecting that futuristic city of Neom to London. It's exciting to see airlines opening up new possibilities.
They're expanding the map of where we can go.
Exactly. And it's not just about far-off places. Remember Breeze Airways? Focusing on secondary airports, connecting smaller cities, making air travel more accessible.
Democratizing air travel, you could say?
Yeah, I like that. Bringing those smaller communities into the global aviation network.
Okay, I gotta ask though, what about supersonic travel? Is that ever going to be a thing for regular folks?
Yeah. Is it just a pipe dream for the super rich?
Well, a lot of companies are working on developing supersonic aircraft, cutting travel times in half. There's a lot of buzz around it.
I can imagine. New York to London in a few hours. Sign me up.
But there are challenges, of course. Fuel efficiency, noise pollution, and yeah, the cost is a big one.
It's a balancing act, right? Innovation versus practicality.
Absolutely. Speaking of balancing acts, how about sustainability? Apps are important, but are they the ultimate solution?
I'm guessing it'll take more than just a new type of fuel.
You got it. Advancements in aircraft design, more efficient engines, maybe even alternative propulsion systems like electric or hydrogen-powered planes?
So a whole system overhaul, basically.
Pretty much. It's a big challenge, but the industry is taking it seriously. Right, let's get back down to earth, literally. What about the airport experience? Yeah, airports can be stressful, to put it mildly. Any hope for improvement there?
Yeah, definitely. Airports are evolving. We're seeing a lot of focus on improving the passenger experience.
Like what? Spill the beans?
Think self-service kiosks, biometric screening, comfy lounges, even entertainment options. Airports are becoming more than just places to catch a flight.
I've seen some airports with art installations, green spaces, that kind of thing.
Right. Creating a more relaxing atmosphere. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about the journey itself.
Makes sense. Happy passengers are more likely to spend money.
Now you're getting it. But let's not get too carried away. There are still challenges ahead for the industry.
Oh, like what? Hit me with the bad news.
Well, cybersecurity is a major concern. Airlines rely heavily on computer systems, and they're prime targets for cyber attacks.
That's a bit unsettling. Not just financial losses, but potential safety and security risks.
Exactly. The stakes are high. Airlines are investing a lot in cybersecurity, but it's a constant battle. And then there's the whole electric aircraft thing.
Yeah, is that ever going to take off, so to speak?
It's still early days. There's potential, especially for short-haul flights, but battery capacity and weight are big hurdles. It'll be a while before electric planes become mainstream.
So, no electric jets for my cross-country trip anytime soon.
Probably not. But it's a technology to watch, for sure. One last thing. We talked about the DOT cracking down on airlines, but what other regulatory changes are on the horizon?
Ooh, good question. What's brewing in the regulatory world?
Keep an eye on the debate around airline consolidation. As airlines merge and form alliances, it raises concerns about competition and potentially higher fares.
The double-edged sword, right? Efficiency versus choice.
Exactly. Regulators have a tough job finding that balance between allowing airlines to grow while protecting consumers.
Well, they've certainly got their work cut out for them. Okay, so in this segment, we've gone from data-driven decisions to cybersecurity threats, electric aircraft, and airline consolidation.
And we touched on supersonic travel, the evolving airport experience, the push for sustainability.
It's clear this industry never stands still.
Nope, it's always evolving. And as we head into the final part of our deep dive, let's take all this information and see what we can glean about the future of air travel.
I'm ready to look into that crystal ball. Let's go. And we're back for the final descent of our commercial aviation deep dive. It's been a whirlwind tour, that's for sure.
Yeah, from financial statements to supersonic dreams, we've covered a lot.
We've seen airlines adapt, innovate, and face some tough challenges.
Yeah.
But the big question is, where is all this headed? What's the future of flying look like?
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on a private island somewhere.
Probably in a supersonic jet too, right?
Exactly. But based on what we've seen, I think flying is going to keep evolving in some pretty interesting ways.
So indulge us. What do you think the average flying experience will be like in, say, 10 years? Champagne and caviar at 30,000 feet or more like a packed bus in the sky?
I think, honestly, it'll be a bit of both. You'll have those premium experiences, maybe even supersonic travel for those who can afford it. But for most people, I think flying will be more about efficiency and affordability.
So more like a well-designed bus ride, but with better snacks, hopefully.
Something like that. Airlines are already squeezing in as many seats as they can to keep fares low. And with the focus on fuel efficiency, I wouldn't be surprised to see even more densely configured cabins in the future.
Okay, that doesn't sound super glamorous.
No, but technology could make a big difference. Imagine personalized entertainment systems, high-speed Wi-Fi that actually works, virtual reality experiences.
Wait, hold on. VR on a plane?
Yeah, why not? Explore exotic destinations, play immersive games, attend virtual meetings, all without leaving your seat.
Okay, now that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
But what about the environmental impact? Can we really make flying sustainable?
It's a huge challenge, no doubt. SaaS are part of the solution, but we need more than that. Advancements in aircraft design, lighter materials, more efficient engines, maybe even electric or hydrogen-powered planes down the line.
It's like we need to rethink the whole concept of flying.
In a way, yes. It requires a shift in thinking, collaboration, and innovation across the entire industry.
Well, it's a daunting task, but it's also pretty exciting to think about the possibilities.
Absolutely. And it's not just about reducing emissions, it's about creating a more sustainable and equitable aviation industry that benefits everyone.
Well, after this deep dive, I'm feeling a mix of apprehension and optimism about the future of flying. There are definitely bumps in the road ahead, but also a sense of hope that we can create a better, more sustainable way to travel.
I agree. And I think it's important to remember that the future isn't set in stone. It's something we're all shaping through our choices as travelers, consumers, and citizens.
So to all our listeners out there, next time you're at the airport, take a moment to appreciate the incredible scale and complexity of this industry. It's truly remarkable.
And as you're soaring through the air, remember that you're not just on a flight. You're part of this ongoing story of human ingenuity, ambition, and our desire to connect with the world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of commercial aviation. We hope you've learned something new and maybe even gotten a little excited about the future of flying.
And until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.
Safe travels, everyone.